What it do, Kaizoku crew? It's your boy, Kaizoku Ice. We're back after video 100. Again, shout out the Kaizoku crew. Y'all are so amazing. Y'all are so kind. The comments, I was shedding tears, bro. Like, y'all are so nice to me. Like, hands down, I have the best community on YouTube and on the internet. And I would die saying that because y'all are just amazing. So, thank you all for your support. For today's video, we're going to be going over PRB-02. I haven't talked too much about PRB-02 since its release in Japanese about 2 months ago. I know I made a video about EB-03, the heroine set, and obviously OP-13 is all the rage right now, but we still have PRB-02 coming in about a month. And I realized the Kaizoku crew needs to know exactly what to do with this set because I personally have changed my stance on PRB-02. I love PRB-02 as a set, however, I think I mentioned about 2 months ago I had pre-ordered 4 boxes, now I had this whole strategy behind it. I'm not doing that anymore. I actually canceled my pre-orders and moved those funds into OP-13 pre-orders, and I have a lot of reasons behind that, but basically, PRB-02 is fantastic, but when I looked at the actual data, and let me pull up the amazing Excel sheets that y'all love, I did some comparisons between EB-02 in Japanese and English, PRB-02 in Japanese, and PRB-01 in English, and I was looking at the numbers and kind of just crunching them when I realized, I don't think PRB-02 is going to be as amazing as people think. A lot of it has to deal with the fact that there is no God Pack, and obviously when we look at PRB-01, for example, PRB-01 is insane right now. If you look at the box itself, do I not have the box? Where's the box here? Somebody find me the box. What is going on? Oh wait, no, I'm trolling. The way I set this up, I have the box here. Anyways, my bad. Kaizoku Ice fail. We don't stop the video though because we one take only, one shot wonder. Anyways, $500 for PRB-01, but when you actually look at the prices for the past year, it went as low as like $120, and it's been on a steady increase and exponentially increased the past just like month, 2 or 3 months or so, right? And I was thinking, can we expect that for PRB-02? And I actually don't think we can expect that because obviously this set right here went, exponentially, it rose exponentially because of the fact that the news of PRB-02 coming out without a manga rare God Pack, and this is the only set that has a manga rare God Pack in the One Piece trading card game for the foreseeable future, or potentially for the entirety of the trading card game. But then this makes sense that this set would go up a lot. But I think I was getting some DMs on Instagram saying PRB-02 is going to be easily a $300 box on release because EB-01 is $300 right now, so it makes sense that PRB-02 is going to be $300, right? And I was like, yo, let's pump the brakes. I actually don't think that's going to be the case. So we looked at some numbers here, but let me pull up the Excel sheet. So I used EB-02 as kind of a litmus test for PRB-02 because, one, it's the second PRB version, similar to how EB-02 was a second extra booster version. So when I was looking at the Japanese prices, and you guys can follow for yourselves, I basically got all these prices on TCG Republic here. So I wanted to look at the prices for EB-02 in Japanese and then compare them to the prices of EB-02 in English, because I feel like that serves as a pretty decent indicator on how well PRB-02 in English is going to do. So I got all the prices here for all of the hits in EB-02, and reminder, a hit is basically any of the leader cards here, any of the alternate arts that you get. None of the super rares. I know that there are some super rares that are expensive, but we didn't count those as hits. So, and you can see in this chart, column B, I have EB-02 in Japanese. We had a box price of $130. I know that the box price for one individual box of EB-02 in Japanese is only $65, but that only guarantees you one hit. So I multiplied that by 2 to get $130 because we're comparing this to English sets which have 2 hits. So I hope you guys follow that. So box price of EB-02 in Japanese for 2 is $130. The total price of all of the hits, once again I added all of the ones here, it costs $2,143.5. The total number of hits in that set was 45, so you could say that the average value of the hit was about $47 per hit, right? So then I was thinking, okay, let me look at the English prices for EB-02. So I got these numbers actually from TCG Player. Box price of EB-02 is currently $200, which is actually, if you can see here on this graph, it's actually also been increasing. And I think in general, a lot of One Piece cards have been increasing. I think we're experiencing kind of you could say the bull market of One Piece right now. I actually want to say I called the market bottom about like a month or two ago. If you guys see that video, maybe I'll put it here. I think we kind of called that almost exactly, and we're now seeing a lot of these cards starting to go parabolic, which is cool to see. That means that my thesis in general was right. I do think that these cards are going to continue going up over time. Actually, I want to make a whole video separate to this because I saw that the Poncho Pikachus, which go for a lot of money, they've actually been on a decrease. And I have a theory, and I could be wrong about this, but I have a feeling that, Pokemon, there might be some fatigue overall with the market, and maybe people start shifting their money into One Piece, and we have a whole boom with One Piece. So that could be another video for another time, but essentially, EB-02 has had a price increase. It's now at $208. It was at a low at first, about $170. I then took the prices of all of the cards in EB-02, so I essentially just added up all the cards here, right, from Gear 2 Luffy manga, which, by the way, Gear 2 Luffy manga, not to sidetrack or anything, this card has been on an insane meteoric rise. If you're looking at this here, I don't think that this is accurate, obviously, because it looks like nothing has sold in the past couple of days. But if you click here on View More Data, you can see a raw one sold for $1,800, right? And that was just literally 2 days ago. And you can see some of the other histories. But this card is, like, I think at this point right now, this card is probably going in between $1,500 to $2,000 raw. It makes sense, though. I did talk about this in a other video a while back, but it is a Luffy Gear 2 iconic pose. It makes sense. But anyways, going back to the Excel sheet, I added all of these cards here, and I added it up. The total price of the hits is $6,220.8, and then the average value of hit in English is $138. So I basically, the reason why I did this is because I wanted to come with a ratio of the prices versus Japanese and versus English, and you guys can see it right here. I'm about to do it for you right now. If I take this cell and divide it by this cell, you can see that English EB-02 is 2.9 times more than Japanese, right? So that served as my base number ratio for comparing PRB-2 Japanese to PRB-2 English. And I know that this isn't an exact science, but basically all I did was, for this column here, I added once again the total prices of all the PRB-2 hits that I saw here on this page off of TCG Republic. We got a total value of 2,970, and then I multiplied 2,970 by this 2.9 number here. You can see, or I lied. I multiplied by 2.5, and there's a reason why I multiplied by 2.5, because I don't think that this 2.91 is going to be exactly the ratio that we're going to see for PRB-2, so I went a little bit lower. I used 2.5. But anyways, guys, I actually don't think... So, let me take a step back. You guys might see this 7,400 number and think, whoa, this is amazing. Like, that means PRB-2 is going to be the set to own, because a total of $7,000 in hits, like, that's amazing. But then, so I use that ratio as pretty much just like the basic standard of, what I can project PRB-2 in English to look like. But then I took it a step further, and then I looked at the PRB-01 prices. And you guys know PRB-01 is like, one of the best sets ever. But when I actually looked at the cards, right, you guys know the reason why this set is so expensive is because the God Pack is carrying the whole set, right? If you add all of the manga rares from the God Pack in PRB-1, it's a total of, man, I forgot the number off the top of my head, but let's say it's over $5,000, right? But if you remove that $5,000 God Pack hit, and you add up only the Gold Dawns and then some of the other alternate arts that you see here on page 2, like the Hody Jones, the Sanji, etc., you actually only get a total value of 4,637, which, that's quite low, and that's actually even lower than the total number of hits in EB-02. Granted, EB-02, the main breadwinner in that set is the Gear 2 Luffy, which is about $1,500 right now. And if you compare that to PRB-1, and the main hit, if you don't get the God Pack, is the Nami manga rare, and the Nami manga rare is only $600. That's why there's that big discrepancy on, why EB02 has a higher total alternate art value versus PRB1. So I kept all of that in mind, and in this column here, I basically then estimated what I personally thought the total price of the hits were going to be in PRB2 because there is no manga rare god pack, and I basically projected it for around $4,000 to $5,500, which is actually even less than EB02, and that's why I made my box price estimate for PRB2, at least on release, in between $170 to $250. I think that PRB2 is a great set in general because it has a lot of great staple cards that people use in their decks, right? I know that the Usohachi, that purple Usohachi, is a very popular card. A lot of the secret rares that needed reprinting, the Brook is being reprinted, right? So it has a lot of staple cards, but when you're talking about the collectability of this set, besides those gold foil Dawns that we see here, right here, I don't think there's too much going for it. I think obviously the main chase hit is this Sanji right here, and this Sanji in Japanese is going for $600, right? And my projection for the Sanji in English, honestly, the fact that the Nami here is only $600, and that's Nami, she's like the #1 waifu. Why would the Sanji, right? Why would the Sanji go for more than the Nami? I know that this Sanji is playable in I think blue purple Luffy, that deck, but if we're talking about just pure collectability, I get it, Sanji's fantastic, but I'd be hard pressed to say that, Nami's not infinitely times better than Sanji. So to me, it makes sense for the Sanji to be pretty much either at that $600 price in English, or maybe even lower because it is Sanji. When talking about, popularity charts, I think I've pulled it up before. The most popular character is Luffy, then Zoro, then Nami. It's not Sanji. So for the fact that this card is $600 and then a PRB box is $500, honestly guys, this is also another note. Hopefully you guys made to this long in the video and have been listening to me. This card right here, I think you should buy. I think you should buy this Nami manga rare as soon as possible because I don't think that PRB1 is going to get any lower in the near future. We could see a dip back to, back to $400 because, maybe people are done selling off their supply. Let's just look at some of the, these are all in Japanese. Yeah, there's quite a bit here around like that $490 range, 400, 489, etc. But I think that this box, the lowest it's ever going to go in the future is $400, and the highest it could go, honestly, I don't have a price estimate because this set could even reach like, I think it could reach $1,000 because, only manga rare god pack in the entire trading card game, that to me is a no-brainer, right? So the fact that this Nami manga rare is only $600 and presumably in the future this set is going to cost $1,000 for just one booster box, get your Nami manga rares before it's too late. So anyways, because of, so basically, let me go back to the Excel sheet now, right? Because of what I've seen with PRB1 in English without a manga rare god pack, and what I've currently seen here with PRB2 in Japanese, also without a manga rare god pack, I don't think we can, use this 2.5x multiplier that I use when comparing EB02 to EB02 in Japanese to EB02 in English. I don't think that that's the right play here. I think I use my own, Kaizoku Ice knowledge, and I really think that this set, while it's still amazing and will have a lot of inherent value in the future, I mean, you see that with EB02, it had one of the most horrible hit rates in the entire history of the trading card game. It was so hard to pull anything good, right? And it's still going for $200 because it is the anime 25th anniversary collection. And PRB2, it is still a premium, the best set, and we know how PRB1 did. I do think PRB2 is going to do well. Maybe when on release, it might be, around the $170 range, similar to EB02, and, kind of just middle of the pack set in general. But trust me, over time, PRB2 is probably going to do extremely well, similar to PRB1. For example, if my thesis with PRB1 and it ends up going to $1,000, I don't see any reason why PRB2 couldn't easily also go to $300 or $400. It is still a great set. It will have the, presumably, because we had it in Japanese, it will have the the God Pack for all of the Gold Dawns, right? And it still has a lot of the meta relevant cards. So this set will still have a lot of value. But from a collectability purpose, you know, I wouldn't, you know, I personally, I'm not buying this set because I'd rather open up OP13 and collect OP13 because it has, you know, the, has technically like what, 6 manga rares with the, like the fire border ones, the red colored ones, and then like the regular manga rares for the 3 brothers. And I think that those, I need to make a whole video on OP13 in itself because there's just so much I need to cover with that set in general. But basically, guys, PRB2, get it if you can for closer to retail. I don't think, at least for right now, I'm not really touching PRB2 as there's not much in it at all for me, honestly, as, you know, I'm a guy that focuses mainly on more scarce things and, you know, the manga rares and SPs and stuff. And well, I will probably try to find the Sanji manga rare at the bare minimum, but it's more advantageous for me, at least, to buy the singles for Sanji, graded PSA 10 Sanji, for example, than to buy 4 boxes and pre-order them for, you know, $150 each, which costs $600, with basically no guarantee at a chase hit, right? That's the way that's the way I think about it, at least. I know a lot of people love to rip packs in general, and PRB2 is great, don't get me wrong, but we're thinking about the future. I think that OP13 is the one to get because it has technically 6 manga rares, PRB2, 1 manga rare Sanji, and no God Pack, and then EB03. We don't know what's going to happen in the heroine set, but presumably we're going to have a new waifu manga rare, whether it's Robin or a mixture of all 4, like a Uta, Boa, Nami, and Robin card. Nobody knows, but for me, for right now at least, PRB2, I do project it to do well in the long term. In the short term, I'm going to be allocating a lot of my money for the cards that I want. In particular, the PSA 10 and the BGS 10 slabs that I don't already have. So, that's it for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all kind of understood what I was putting down here. This is not supposed to, you know, hate on PRB2 at all. I know a lot of the Kaizoku crew loves PRB2, and I love it too, but I think I prefer owning single cards and graded cards a little bit more as you get closer into what, in my opinion, is going to be like the massive bull run of the One Piece trading card game. So, that's it for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm Kaizoku Ice. Stay chill, stay cool, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.